All right, so now we're going to go through the practical. We've already been through the theory of things for your very first program. So now we're going to dive into the practical. Now, if by now you should already have Python installed and Visual Studio Code. If you don't, please go to my video where I install and download and install Python and Visual Studio Code. So um, let's start. So open your VS Code, right? You can simply just drag the directory of which you want to open your Visual Studio Code from to the icon. You see this? You see what it says there? Open with Visual Studio Code, right? Just drag it towards the icon and you see that it should open from the particular directory that you want it to. So that is one way of doing it. Then another way is, right? I'm just going to go out of this. This is the way I do my own. And just in case you cannot find this Visual Studio Code, it should be on your desktop. But just in case you cannot find the icon, simply just go to your start button, type Visual Studio Code, and you can see here open, no, sorry, not open file location. You can see it. You try to, yeah, you can just open this here. Then you can find the folder that you can open the folder from your system. So that is another way to do it, right? If I open the folder and it will ask you from where you want to open from. You see that? And you can open from any folder you want. You can, just go through the folders and see the one you want to open from. So that's another way. Now, the way I do it makes things quicker for me. I don't have to just drag and no, I don't do that. What I just do is that I come here, I come to the folder that I want to use, right? And I go into that folder, or I don't even need to go into that folder, right? I can decide to go into it or not. So if I right click here, you will notice that there's something that says open in terminal here, right? So if I go into the folder as well, it will be the same thing. I have to just right click in the folder, right? My system is slow, and open it. Just on the side note here, I am using WSL, so my interface kind of looks different because I'm using WSL, which is a Windows subsystem for Linux. But whatever I'm typing here is going to be the same thing you're going to type, whether it's Windows or Linux. So don't worry about that. Just a side note. So if I type code and a dot here, right, this will open Visual Studio Code from that particular directory that I want to use for my editing, for my typing, for my programming. As you can see here, WSL Ubuntu 22.04. Okay, so those are three different ways you can open your Visual Studio Code. And now let's get into it. So your first program, all right? I'm just going to remove this from here. Now we're going to create a file, right? So you can simply create a file by coming here, right? You see here this new file that's right here. You can create a file to create a folder. So you create a file, and I'm going to name this file hello world. Please avoid having spaces. Do not use spaces in your code, in your in naming of your files, because it will cause errors. So you see here just hello world.py, and it creates a folder for me. Now that's one way of doing things, right? But I don't do things like this. You can do it like this. It's your choice. But I prefer to do things through the terminal. I don't know. It makes me feel too badass for some reason. I don't know why. So I'm going to delete this, right? And I'm going to show you how I do it on the terminal. So come to the top right and you see these icons here. These things that look like, you see here, like what we call the sidebar, the panel. So if I click, notice if I click on this one here, it opens up a terminal at the bottom, right? You see that? Now, when it opens up a terminal at the bottom, to create a file, what I do is the same code we did, code, right? Code hello world .py, and you see that it's being created. You see that hello world.py, but it's not being saved. So I've created a file, but it's not saved yet, right? So if I come into this file and press Control S, Control and S for sugar, you see the file is saved here as well. I'll show you another way using for Linux. For Linux, people using Linux, or I think Mac OS as well. You can do this way, a different way. Now you can come here and say, right, or you type touch hello world.py. Do you see that? So this time you notice I didn't have to save. I didn't have to save the file, but you see it's already here. So whatever way you want to create a file, using this one, using touch, using code, it's your choice. There's even another one for Linux. So the touch one is for Linux. There's another one for Linux as well. So if I delete this again, and I want to create the same file, I can do nano hello world.py. Now if I do this nano hello world.py, what it will do, it will open an editor in Linux. It's open an editor for me. You see, it opened an editor for me, right? Then I can save it by saying Control X, right? Now notice that nothing, it didn't do anything. That's because I didn't type anything in it, right? If I want to type something, this I mostly use for creating environment variables. So I don't think this nano is something that you should really be thinking about if you're like just creating files. But if you want to use the nano, that's fine. But if you write a nano, if you use a nano, sorry, like for example, I come to nano and I have to type something inside to save it. So I have to, let me just say print hello world, right? Control X, exit. So I'm exiting first. Then you notice now it asks me, do I save modified buffer? Yes, no, right? So you save yes, type yes, and press enter. Do you notice that now I have a hello world here, and I have to print hello world here? But whatever way you want to do it, it's fine. It doesn't really matter as long as you create the file, right? So wasted time on that. So I'm just going to go to code dot, not dot, sorry. Now another thing, if I had done this code hello world in terminal here, it will have created a file for me and opened it. So that's another way, but let's not waste time. Hello world.py. Okay, so now we've created a file, right? You see, I haven't saved it yet because I want to type something first before I save it. So what did we discuss in the theory, right? We started with print hello world. Then we want to start talking about how the print works. So I'm just simply going to go print hello world, right? Print hello world, right? I created a file and I save it now using Control S, as in S for sugar. Simple save. So I have my first program, print hello world, right? Then the next thing I can do here, right? Now I want to run this code. Just how there's different ways of opening the VS Code, there's different ways of creating a file. There's also different ways of running the code. There's a simpler way. There's a more, like, should I say, programmatic way. I don't know how to say that, but the way I do it is that I simply just come to the terminal, right? The terminal where the file is. So you have to make sure you're in the same directory as where you created that file, right? Because if you try to run the program from where you did not make that file, obviously it will not find it and it cause an error. So what do I do here to run this file? I simply say Python in the terminal, right? Python. So for Windows users, as you can say Python, right? And the name of your file. So Python hello world.py. Simple as that. And I click enter. And what do we have here? We have hello world here. For Linux users, simple, same Python. Now you have to add 3 in front of it. So for Linux users and Mac OS, it's Python 3, and for Windows, it's just Python. So Python 3 hello world, same thing, hello world. And I don't have to type the whole thing because the file is here, is already in directory. So instead of wasting my time to type everything, it's the only file that is there that starts with an H, right? If there are other files, that means it will be a bit confusing, so you have to type more letters. But since the only file is the only file that starts with an H, I can simply just type H and press the tab button. I press the tab button on my keyboard, or the tab key, sorry, did I say button? Tab key on my keyboard, and you see it auto completes for me, and I press enter, and you see that we have hello world. So just to remove any confusion as to why I'm able to use Python and Python 3, so I'm using WSL. See here, WSL, which is Windows subsystem for Linux. So I'm technically using Linux in Windows. So I'm running a Linux OS right now for this program, right? Reason as to why I'm able to use Python is because I created an alias, right? I created an alias for Python 3 so that it can be able to use Python as well. Because honestly, to be honest, I don't really like adding the 3 at the end. It's kind of like, I don't know why, kind of like, so it feels like I'm wasting my time when I'm adding the 3. So I just changed it to Python. Because to be honest, I started using Windows before I got into Linux. So I'm used to the Python. So I just made an alias of Python 3 into Python in my system. So if you want me to show you how to do that, drop in the comment section and I can make a video for that as well. So moving on, now we've written, or we've typed your first program in Python. Nice one, guys. So let's talk about this print, right? We've spoken about it in the in theory. So we have the word print, and we have parentheses, we have a string here, and we have our words inside the string. So like I mentioned in the theory part, that these in opening and closing quotation marks make it a string. All right, so let's move on. So this is just the first part, and now let's talk about the function arguments, right? So remember, we spoke about function arguments as well. So in this print, you see hello world has one argument, right? Has one argument, which is a string. You already know by now that it is data and not code because it's in a string. So the print only displays for on your screen. It only displays the data in the print function on your screen, as you see here that we did that. So you remember that I also said that this can also be, instead of double quotation mark, it can also be single quotation mark, right? So instead of using the double one, I can also use a single one, which you see there, the single one, hello world, and save it, Control S, come to the terminal and type Python. Now, to avoid going through typing all over from scratch again, the good thing about using terminal is that once you've typed something in the terminal, right, you can easily retrieve it back. You can easily retrieve it back by just using your up key, right? So you have your keys up, left, right, down, right? So if you press up key here, if I press up key, you see it starts to go to the previous commands I've typed in my terminal. I can go up and down. I go up. As I go up, it goes before to the one before, to the one before, to the one before. Then what do I want to just type? I want to type Python hello world or Python 3 hello world for Linux, and I press enter. And you see there I have this hello world and I have the second hello world. Right. Now for Linux users, there's another thing you can do. For example, maybe you typed something a long time ago, you totally forgot, you need to remember, you don't want to like start searching where you got that command. You can simply just type history. And when you type history, it brings out a history of, you see, it brings out the history of the commands that you have typed, right? The commands that you've been typing in your terminal. So you can just scroll through them and try to get the ones that you need. That is for Linux. So yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna clear this tab, type in clear, and I'm just gonna make it because I want it to be clean. Okay, now let's talk about function invocation. So as you've seen earlier, right? Invoking a function is one of the various Python instructions. Now, complex programs normally include a lot of instructions. In Python, the syntax requires that there can only be one instruction in a line. So you're allowed to leave empty lines, but cannot have more than one instruction, right, on a line. So obviously there's some exceptions, but it doesn't make the rule, right? So you're allowed to spread an instruction across more than one line. We'll go into that on a later stage. Yeah. So let's do something else. Let's talk more on function invocation using the print function. So let's create another file, right? So go to your terminal and type code or touch for Linux users if you feel like using touch, or type code instructions, or if you don't want to do that, you can come here and create a new file and name that file code instructions. Oh, I didn't spell that right. Instruct.py and enter. So I'm creating a new file, and in that file type print open parentheses, open your quotation marks, and type this is the best Python course, right? So on the next line, right, type print, same thing, or you know what, let's use single quotation. Same thing, I am happy to be learning from here. Right. So you're happy to be learning from me. Great stuff. So now this is what I'm trying to say. So this is one instruction, right, on one line. This is another instruction on another line. Now I can't come and take this, right, and put here. It's not going to work. Even it doesn't look right. So let's see what happens, right? So come to terminal and type Python or Python 3 for Linux and instructions. Now in my directory there's only one file that starts with an I. So if I type I and press tab, it brings out the rest. It just autocompletes and press enter. What you see that we have what this is a print. Now notice what Python is doing here. Python is telling you, oh, as I was going through your code, I saw that you put another instruction in front of an instruction, and the rules say you're not supposed to do that. So I'm just going to tell you this is a syntax error. Go and correct it. So that's what Python is doing here, and you see that it's indicating where the issue is. It starts from print, which is here, and it gives the type of error. There's many types of error. We'll go into the different types of error later on. And as you can see here, we cannot do this. So it is one instruction, right? One instruction per line. Now, when you talk about an exception to the rule, right? When you say you're allowed to spread an instruction across more than one line. So I'm allowed to spread an instruction, right? So let me just do this first. All right, so let's run this program, and we've already typed Python instructions.py. We can just simply press the up key, and you see we have our Python instructions.py, and press enter. And oh, this is good that this happened, because you see I failed to save. When you need to save, when you haven't saved the file, you have something like this appear. You see how it is? Like a dot right there. That means you haven't saved the file. And if you have not saved that file, it's not going to register that, oh, you made a change or something happened before you run the program. All right. So now I'm going to save it, and I come here, I press up key, and voila, I have my program. Now let's talk about the spreading of one instruction. Now you see this, I can spread this instruction across different lines, right? So if I press print, if I type print, open bracket, and I press enter, right? You see, now one line, second line has the instructions of the first line. Now this is allowed, right? Something like this. So if I come here, see, I almost forgot to save. So I save it, and I come. You see, it works perfectly. Now there's some cases where it's not going to work. I can't do something like this. Now this might cause. Oh wait, let's see. I think this might be an error, but let's see. I have saved it, and you see what happens. It did not even register this because it doesn't know what exactly is going on here. But it didn't give an error, but which is interesting. Well, back to it, and so that's what we mean by an instruction can be spread across different lines. Come back, save, and we have our function invocations. So you notice that I'm calling the same print more than once. I can keep on doing that on different lines, and it doesn't matter. Something else, I can also create an empty space here. It's not going to affect anything in Python. You can put it like this. As long as the syntax of what you're doing is correct, right? The spaces don't matter. The The spaces don't matter. It's not going to take, Python is not going to take the spaces into context. As you can see, if I come here, you see same answer, but the spaces did not show because the spaces don't really mean anything in Python. So that is one thing. So moving on, now I've shown that you can use one argument, right? So we're using one argument, which is a string here. We're using another argument, which is a string here. What if I'm to put no argument in the print, right? So if I'm to come here and put print without an argument, what do you think is going to happen? Put in the comment section, right? What do you think is going to happen? Try to put in the comment section before I give the answer. So for those of you that guess that it's going to be nothing and it's just going to be like a space, you are correct, because you see when I come here, you see it creates a space for me here. You see here there's a space because I put a print. There's nothing inside the print, but the print still exists, right? So this is just, you see, it creates a space for me here. If I put another print here, so that print is just putting a space right there. Same thing, if I come here, it creates more spaces. You see, and then one space, second space. So that is, as long as you put the print function, it's going to output something even if there's nothing there, right? So that's it for that. So the empty print line, or the empty print function, sorry, creates an empty line. Okay, so let's move on now to the escape and new line. Okay, so by now you already know what an escape and a new line does, right? So let's create a new file, right? And let's see what we'll call it. Escape.py, I guess. So code escape.py. By now you know that whenever you type like print, and in that print, right, you have a backslash. Now you see what happens here, right? Now let's just, before we do anything, let's see what's going to happen. But you see, this is complaining. It's complaining, yes, there's something, it's expecting something here, right? But I haven't put anything, right? So let's put something. It's not, no, sorry, let's run this first. So I put Python escape. I have an escape there. Is the only thing that starts with an E, so I'm going to press tab, and you see that? Do you see I have an error here that says syntax error, unterminated string literal, right? That means something's missing. Where is the thing? So this is an escape character for something. And remember what we said? We said that when you have an escape character with an N, right, it becomes a new line. A new line meaning like it goes to the next line. So if I do this again and I save and I run, you see that it creates space because it's creating a new line. Now this alone causes an error, right? So you can't just put that. You have to put something like put another backslash, and you put another backslash, a save, right? And you see that it escaped to output this. But this in Python, after an escape, doesn't mean anything. Like n means n after an escape means new line, but this after an escape doesn't mean anything. So that's why it just outputs the backslash. So let's give like a concrete example using the new line. So let's create a new file called newline. I'm typing like this every time so that you get used to creating files in the terminal. And if you're going to be a developer, you'll mostly be doing this. Like you'll be like typing and be typing commands in the terminal. So it's best to just get used to it now. So whenever you start working using the terminal, you don't really have any issues. So code newline.py, I'm going to create this file. Then let's use the new line. Let's see the new line in action. So I say print, and what do we have here? We have notice something. Notice that whenever I'm typing, that it auto completes what I want to do. So VS Code is like that. It helps you auto complete. You see that it auto completed the bracket, the parentheses for me. If I do the same thing for quotation marks, it does the same thing as well. So let's start with this is the best, right? So let's use the new line and see what we're talking about. So escape character, right? And N, which makes it a new line. So this is the best Python course, right? Then we go to the next line and we say, let's use this, the empty line, and let's do again print I am happy, right? New line to be learning here. What do you think is going to be? Put in the comment section before I type this. Oh, sorry, before I run the command. So what do we have? So I've saved. I've not saved yet. Control S. I come to my terminal and I type Python. Let me use Python 3 this time. Python 3, remember, is for Linux users. Python 3. What is the name of my file? It starts with an N. Notice that new line right here is the only thing that starts with an N. If there was something else that started with an N, let me show you an example. Let me just create another file here. Let's say if I had NAEQ, right? .py. I'm just creating this for sample example purposes. And when I put N, right, you see, it doesn't autocomplete because it's being confused like, oh, there's NEQ and there's new line. So which one is it? So it starts at NE. So what do? Because I want to go for new line, I type W. Now notice that NEW is the only one here. New line is the only one that starts with NEW, right? So when I come here and I press the tab, now that's where it can fully autocomplete. Okay, so we run that and you see here we have this is the best. This is the best, right? New line, this is the best new line, Python course. We have our print, empty line here, empty line, and we have I am happy. You see here, I am happy to be learning here. You see it here, to be learning here. Okay, right. So that is it for new line. So let's talk about multiple arguments now, right? Remember we spoke about multiple arguments, how we can use multiple arguments in the print function as well. So we've been using single arguments. That's just this one, which is a single argument in one string. Now let's go into multiple arguments. So again, let's come here and create a file called multiple arguments. Multiple arguments.py. Notice I'm using an underscore to create a file. I'm not using a dash or anything. Use an underscore to create your files, which is the best way. Or you can use what's it called? Camel case. Camel case meaning that your first word in like a sentence, you start with a small letter, then the next word you start with a bigger letter. So, but they are not separated; they are together in one, right? But I prefer to use underscore. This underscore is what you call snake case because you know how it looks like a snake, right? So it goes like this, underscore. It goes like this, because how it moves like a snake. All right, so enough about snakes and camels. Now let's go into multiple arguments, right? So to create multiple arguments, just like how we talk about in the theory, right? So we say print, then my first argument, right? This first argument is a string. This is a data type. This is a string. They're all in opening and closing quotation. Second argument, right? Second argument. The best. Second argument. Third argument. This is the best Python course, right? So now I save this, right? So before I run this, right, notice I put a space here and I put a space here. I put a space here, space here, space here. Now listen to me, it doesn't matter. It means nothing. I did this to show you that, oh, I can put space or I can do without it. I'm just showing you for this. For now, I'm not going to do that next time. But it doesn't really matter, right? Python doesn't care about that. So if I run this, the same Python. So in the list of my documents, what do I have? I want to run multiple arguments.py, and it's the only file that starts with an M, right? So I type M, right, and the tab. Auto completes for me, and I press enter. Now you see here, this is the best Python course. This thing doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. I can decide to remove it. I just did it just to show you that you can do this as well. Just maybe you want to make things clearer, you want to make things more readable, but it doesn't really care. Python doesn't really care about spaces like this in Python function invocation. Okay, so this is 3 arguments, right, in the print function. Okay, let's move on to notice that they are separated by commas. So that's how you can put more arguments in the print function. Okay, so let's talk about the positional way of passing the arguments, right? So let's come here, let's create another file, positional arguments .py, and let's type something, print. Now my name is, right? First argument, my name is. Second argument, Joe. Sorry, no, my name is Psycho, right? First print function with multiple arguments. Let's go to the next one, print Joe Psycho. Okay, so positional arguments, right? It means, like I said in the theory, that when you do in a print function, the usual way that Python runs the program is positionally. So you see here, this is the first argument and this is the second argument. Python is not going to jump the first one and go to the second one and start from there. It's not going to be cycle, my name is. It goes as like in position. So this is the first one, this is the second one, just like that. So if I run this now, Python positional arguments, no, autocomplete for me, press enter, and you see here it says my name is. For some reason I don't know why this space is here. Let me check this, run this again. This is weird. Okay, it's because this was making from here. That's why. Okay, run it again. And you see here, my name is Psycho Joe Psycho. So it does is Python uses positional arguments as a default. Moving on to keyword arguments. Now, keyword arguments, right, as I explained before, is that we can now change the way we want things to be in whenever we invoke the print function. Like, instead of it going like, oh, my name is space Psycho Joe Psycho, I can change the way it is using keyword arguments. So there's the end and there's the sep, right? So let's talk about end first. Positional arguments. So not positional, keyword arguments. Let's create keyword arguments. Let's create a file called keyword arguments. So let's talk about end, right? End. Now, before I move forward, notice I created something here with what's it called? With a hash, right? Now this hash, right? Whenever I use a hash in my file or in my code, this is called a comment. It's just to like use to comment on something. It doesn't really do anything in the code. It's a way of like leaving, for example, leaving notes. Like maybe you created a code and you want to come back, and because you can create a code now, I might not remember what you did before. So you can use a comment to put it, I did this here. This code uses end to print. Do you understand? So you can use a comment using the hash, right? So it does really, so Python just skips this. It doesn't run it. It skips it because it's designed to be a comment in your code. So that's why I'm just going to use end here. Now, how you can just make things faster, right? Instead of, because the hash has to be at like the beginning of what you want to comment. So me, I normally just come and just hold control, right? Control and the forward slash. Control forward slash, and it does the quick commenting for me, right? End, right? End. So we said before that the end keyword the end is the keyword. Like these are specific rules when using the keyword argument. So we have the keyword itself, we have the symbol, right, and we have the value of the argument. So if you're going to use end in the print function, right, we come and say print my name is. So what am I doing here? My name is first positional argument, right? My name is Psycho, right? Second positional argument, and lastly end the keyword arguments. Now whenever you're using your keyword, if you're using a mix of positional and keyword arguments, always remember that the keyword arguments have to be the last thing in your print function, right? It has to be. Even when we talk about functions, it's going to be the same thing. The keyword arguments are always the last thing if you're using positional and keyword arguments in your like parentheses. So end, explained before, end is used to define or specify what you want to do at the end of the argument, after the last argument, right? So my name is first argument, Psycho last argument. So what do I want to do after that, right? I want to create a space, and I come here again, print, right, Psycho. Joe cycle. Right now, right, I save this and I run it. Let's run it. Right now, you already know what this will do because I've already explained this before. Python keyword arguments. You see that? My name is Psycho, Joe Psycho. Now notice it did not come after the line. It came on the first line because this end, I've specified that I don't want you to go to the next line. I want you to do everything on the same line. If I were to come here, let's copy and paste the same thing. Copy and paste the same thing here, right? And if I were to remove this end, you already know what the answer will be, right? It will be the first line, then the second line, right? That is because Python's default, this is something that came with Python. You didn't do anything to it. It came with Python. This is how it is. This is a default of Python's print function. This is what automatically happens when you call the Python function, right? So if I do the same thing, it's just like I'm doing exactly what Python has already said, right? So it's just going to do the same thing. My name is Psycho, Joe Psycho on the next line because the print function says, oh, the end keyword is a new line. If I come here, do the same thing, right? If I remove this and I put symbol, put dollars, pounds, money, ching ching, right? What do you think is going to happen? Put in the comment section. What do you think is going to happen, right? You're right. Everything's going to be the same line with the percentage, the dollar, and the pounds all on the same line. So that is the end. That's what happens when you use the end keyword argument. Let's comment this out. Notice I'm commenting it out and it doesn't affect what we're doing here. I come again and what we have end and we have sep, right? Sep. Now, if I come and say same thing, let's copy and paste this. Same. No. Okay, sep. Okay, print. My name is, right? Psycho. Right now, we're using the keyword argument sep. Remember that we said that sep is used to separate, right? Separate what is the separator that we're going to use for our print function, right? So the separator is, we can use whatever you want to use. You can use whatever you want. And also for this name, use your own name. Use your own name. You don't have to use Psycho. Use your own name. So let's use a dash here, right? So my name is Psycho. Let's use this. Let's do like this. Right. Okay. Now what do you think is going to be? Put in the comment section. Now I've decided to separate this. Print. Right? What am I saying? Print. Python. I want to do the same Python keyword. I can use. Someone was at the door. So I want to use the same Python keyword arguments, and I can just use my up key, and you see there it's separated by a dash or by hyphen. And you see my name is Psycho separated by hyphen because I changed the behavior, because the normal behavior is that it's separated by space, right? But I've decided to switch it up to hyphen. Okay. Now, another thing to take note is that we can use the sep and the end together. So end and sep. right? So if I come and say same thing, print my name is cycle, right? Then, so first positional argument, second positional argument, third positional, fourth positional. Then I want to what? I want to separate with an underscore, and I want to end with a star. So print and see here, Joe. Use your own name. I come here, separate by a hashtag and end with what do you want to end with? Let's end with money, right? End with money, and let's come here and just put something like, now let's do something else. Now notice that I'm going to put a number now. You see here, this is a number, but as long as it's in the quotation marks, right? No, let's use a single one as well. As long as it's in the quotation marks, it now becomes a string. It is not a number anymore. It is a string. It is a data type string. Okay. $30. That's too small. Is it like $3,000? Let's say dollars, pounds. Sorry, 3,000 pounds. All right. So save this and put in the comment section what do you think this will be. So my name is, right? So before I do anything, before I put the answer there, I'm going to type the answer here before I type there, before I run it. So the first positional argument, my, it is separated by what? An underscore. See here. So underscore, my name underscore is underscore cycle, right? And now it ends with a star. There's a star there, so that's the star. That is the end, right? Now, because it ends with a star, it is not a new line. It continues on the same line. So Joe, right? What is it on that line? The instruction says it's separated by a hash, right? So Joe separated by first hash. Oh, but that hash is a comment, so it doesn't. Don't put that in your mind. I'm showing you what is going to be in the result. So hash cycle, right? Dot full stop. I'm supposed to put a full stop here too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. Just put it in for fancy. Okay, so Joe and cycle are separated by a hash, and the end is dollar. Why do I keep saying dollar? Pounds, right? And next is 3,000. 3,000. Now this is my answer, right? All by looking at this. Is it the same as what you did? Check. Let's see if you're right. So let's also check if I'm right as well. So I have to comment this out, because if I leave this, it's going to cause an error. So I come here and I want to run the keyword arguments file up key Python keyword arguments run. Let's run this. So what do I have here? My name is, you see, my name is cycle. My name is cycle, full stop. Then I have the star, which it ends with. Then Joe cycle separated by a hash. See here. Then we have the pounds and the 3,000. So we have 3,000 pounds. Okay. All right. So that is it for the keyword arguments, and that's it for this video. So I hope you guys. I'm gonna try to put the file of instructions or for the lesson in the link below, and you can use it, because there's also gonna be some exercises there you should try on your own. Try to play around with what you've learned today, and see how you feel about Python. All right, so that is it for this video. I just want to say thank you for sticking around. It's been a long video, and I hope you learned a lot. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right.